Welcome to Honeybee. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Real stories of love, lies, and betrayal, where every truth stings. Let's begin. My name is Charles. A few weeks before my twin brother's wedding, his fiancée accused me of flirting with her. My brother didn't ask for my side of the story. He just sent me a single text. Stay away from us. I replied with one word, done, and stepped back. That decision set off a chain reaction none of us could have predicted. To understand why that moment cut so deeply, you need to know what my brother and I were like before she ever came along. We weren't just twins, we were inseparable. Two halves of the same whole. We shared everything. Friend from the same block, the same hobbies, the same schools. When it was time for a fresh start, we packed up and moved to a new state together. It was always the two of us against the world. And trust me, the world gave us plenty of reasons to stick together. Our dad died before we were old enough to remember him. We had photos and a handful of stories, but no real memories. Years later, our mom fought cancer for what felt like forever, rounds of chemo, medications, nights when she could barely stand. She passed away just days after we turned 24. 24 is too young to be completely orphaned. After that, it was just us. Sure, we had a few of Mom's siblings in our lives, but we saw them maybe once or twice a year, out of courtesy more than anything. The truth was, we didn't feel close to anyone else. Our entire support system was each other. So when I say losing my brother felt like losing my only family all over again, I'm not exaggerating. What happened next didn't just shake me. It broke something inside me that I didn't know could still break. When my brother first introduced me to the woman who became his fiancée, I was thrilled. He'd been talking about her nonstop, how brilliant she was, how ambitious, how she understood him like no one ever had. You know the way someone lights up when they talk about the person they love? I felt his happiness too. I couldn't wait to meet her. I imagined she'd be like the sister we never had. Someone who'd bring more joy into our tight little family. I welcomed her into our lives without hesitation. At first, everything seemed fine. She was polite, a little reserved, nothing that raised a red flag. But gradually, things shifted. Being twins, my brother and I had been through everything together. That kind of bond feels unshakable. Or at least that's what I thought. But once she came into the picture, I noticed we weren't spending as much time together. At first, I brushed it off. He was in love, and I wanted him to enjoy it. I wasn't clingy. I wasn't even in a relationship myself at the time, so I figured he deserved this happiness. But as weeks turned into months, it became obvious that she wasn't just sharing space in his life. She was replacing parts of mine. Our conversations grew shorter. He'd forget plans we made or back out without much explanation. One moment I'll never forget. We had planned one of our annual road trips, a tradition we both looked forward to every year. We'd planned the route, picked the dates, and then out of nowhere, he texted me, "Hey man, sorry, can't go." I called him immediately, confused, trying to figure out what had changed in a single day. He was vague, almost evasive. I let it slide, not wanting to push. Weeks later, he admitted that she had asked him not to go because she'd feel lonely while he was gone. I wasn't angry, just disappointed. I wished he had told me the truth instead of giving me a half excuse. It wasn't about him choosing her. I understood why he did. But a pattern began to form. He'd agree to something with me, spend time with her, and then change his mind. It felt like I was talking to two different versions of my brother, the one before her and the one after. And yet, I still didn't see her as the problem. Not then. When my brother told me he wanted to propose, I didn't hesitate to support him. Even though I had started to notice little things about her that unsettled me, I stayed quiet. Love can make people act in ways others don't always get. So I went with him to the jewelry store. We spent hours looking at rings. He didn't have a big budget, but he picked something simple and elegant, something he felt suited her perfectly. But when he proposed, she didn't even appreciate it. When they were alone, she told him it was too plain, called it cheap, like something from a vending machine, and demanded a custom ring with a bigger stone and more sparkle. He promised he'd replace it when he could afford to. I asked him why he agreed to that, and he said she deserved the best. A few days later, she started pushing for a bigger goal. They shouldn't marry until they own a house, not just rented one. I understood wanting stability, but her timing made it feel like an ultimatum. No house, no wedding. My brother tried applying for a mortgage, but his credit wasn't good enough. Hers wasn't either. That's when he came to me. He sat me down, told me how important this was, how much he loved her, how this house would prove they were serious about building a future together. Even though something deep down warned me, I agreed to help. I signed on as guarantor for their mortgage, a huge responsibility that tied my credit to theirs. But I did it because he was my brother. That's what family does. But as time went on, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was backing something built on shaky ground. Her demands, her cold stares, the way she treated me like an intruder in their perfect little world. It all added up. Still, I said nothing. Then, about a week later, I got that text from him. Stay away from us. I stared at my phone in disbelief. We'd had arguments before. Sure, every pair of siblings does, but never anything like this. I called him immediately. His voice was cold, distant. That's when he told me. Sienna said I'd been hitting on her. At first, I actually laughed because I thought he was joking. But he wasn't. He said she felt uncomfortable around me, that I'd made inappropriate comments. I was floored. I asked him, "Do you actually believe this?" His answer crushed me. I have no reason to doubt her. I pressed him again. So you believe her over me? And instead of answering directly, he said something that cut deeper than anything else. You've always criticized her. Maybe it's because you want her. All the times I tried to protect him, all the red flags I quietly pointed out, he twisted it into something ugly. This was my twin brother, the person I'd shared everything with since birth, now accusing me of trying to take his fiancée from him. At that moment, I knew there was no reasoning with him. He had made up his mind. I told him done and hung up. I didn't yell, didn't send a long text, didn't offend myself further. I stayed calm on the outside, but inside I was wrecked, not just because of her lie, but because my brother didn't even give me a chance to explain. The next morning, I woke up and thought about everything I had risked for him, especially signing on as guarantor. I realized I couldn't keep my name tied to someone who now saw me as a threat. So I called the bank and pulled out as guarantor. It was one of the hardest choices I've ever made, because I knew exactly what would happen. And sure enough, the loan was denied. He didn't call to ask why. Instead, he told our mutual friends that I'd done it to hurt him, that I had ruined everything. He swore he'd never speak to me again. I didn't fight it. I didn't try to clear my name. I stepped back and focused on my own life. For the first time, we were walking separate roads. Not because we wanted to, but because a lie had forced us there. 3 months went by without a word between us. We'd gone from sharing practically the same mind to being complete strangers. Then one evening, as I was cooking dinner, my phone lit up. It was him. For a moment, I thought it had to be a mistake. But I answered. His voice sounded different. There was a pause. Then he asked, "Can we talk?" In person. I hesitated. My first instinct was to protect myself. I wasn't sure if this was just another way to twist the knife. I told him I was busy. Partly true, but mostly I was still angry and hurt. Later that night, though, I couldn't stop thinking about everything we'd been through. Could we really leave things like this? I texted him back and agreed to meet. When we sat down, I could tell immediately he hadn't been doing well. He didn't waste time. "I'm sorry," he said. "I was wrong." He admitted he should never have believed what she told him about me. Then he told me the full story. After I withdrew as guarantor, she convinced him to invest their down payment into what she called a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, a tech startup with insider access to early shares. She promised they could triple their money and buy an even better house without needing a loan. He trusted her and put in everything he had, $48,000. At first, she even sent him spreadsheets and fake screenshots showing profits. But eventually, she stopped updating him. When he asked questions, she'd lash out, accuse him of not trusting her. Then one day, she stormed out after calling him ungrateful, and a few days later, She was gone. Her closet empty. No note, no trace. She had disappeared, along with his money, some valuables, and even electronics. The police think she left the country. Sitting across from him, I didn't even feel angry anymore. Just sad. Sad that he had to learn this lesson in the most painful way possible. Sad that we had been torn apart by her manipulation. He looked at me and said, "I let someone come between us. I see that now. I'll never let it happen again." That moment wasn't just an apology. It was a reckoning. Everything was finally out in the open. We both knew things could never go back to the way they were. But maybe, just maybe, we could start over. Here's what I've learned. If someone you love accuses you without giving you a chance to speak, you have every right to walk away. Your voice matters. Silence where support should be is its own kind of betrayal. Second, trust your gut about people. Just because everyone else sees gold doesn't mean you can't smell rust. And finally, love should never cost you your identity or your most important relationships. If someone has to cut you off from everyone else to love you, that isn't love, it's control. Thank you for listening. If you've been through something similar, know you're not alone. It hurts, but you will come out stronger. Take care of yourselves. Until next time,